Hi everyone, welcome back to another video. And if you watch me regularly, you'll know that on the last video we did the SPR 300. It's been a couple of days since then. I did make some mistakes in that video, which many people weren't happy with. But after I'd recorded it, because obviously there's a bit of time before obviously upload it and it goes onto YouTube and then it gets posted the next day. Part of me was thinking, oh, you know what, I'm just going to re-record this after making that mistake with the screw for the handguard. And then I thought, no, because on this channel I'm very transparent with you lot, and I'm sure people would, those that watch me and have watched me for years, will appreciate the transparency of me leaving in my mistakes. What I will say with the videos, which you'll see in this one today, is I do them unscripted, just ad hoc, put the camera on and away I go. And that's the reason why I think over 15,500 of you have stuck around. And I think if I change that and I start scripting my videos, or I start, re-recording them and trying to make myself look in a better light than what that did, because I did make a mistake. I was just excited to start playing with the SPR 300. I'm not going to dwell on it forever in this video, but that's the reason why I left that video up. I've got another box from Toxicant here, and we've got another adjustable trigger box from them. I do like that they put everything in hard cases. It's very nice. So I've done a video on the MCX trigger box from Toxicant. This apparently is the MWS version, and they asked me if they sent me another trigger box, would I be interested to cover it on the channel? I said, of course, because, again, I haven't opened this. Literally, this is how it got sent to me. I haven't touched it, anything like that. And of course, I'm a massive MWS user, so, a nice adjustable trigger box, is going to be a great accessory to have if I decide, or when I decide, which gun will be receiving this. I really do like the trigger in my Spear LT. So let's open this up here. We have a little package here. Again, Toxicant every now and again will send me little accessories so I can show them off. That's not necessarily what you'll get in the box. So take it with a pinch of salt. I mean, like with one of the MCXs, they sent me a bunch of steel parts, which I think have just released now. But that wasn't something that came out of the box. So don't quote me on everything that's inside this box. If it's not included in the trigger box you received, it's probably just they've sent it to me to make, so I can show it on the channel. So here is I really do like the purple and green sort of colour scheme they go for on this. And can we look just inside here? So I did have a slight issue with my MCX one where this screw sort of loosened itself off, and it enabled the valve knocker to get stuck. So we've got the trigger box itself. I believe this might come with extra. Again, it might not come in your package, or it might. I'm not too sure. But this looks like different triggers. And if I can get this out here, I don't have anything sharp. So behind package number 1, we have a Geisley style flat trigger. So I imagine what you can do here is loosen off that grub screw that's found on the one side. This slides in. So I've never actually noticed this on the Toxicant trigger box before. You can actually loosen this off, and you can slide the trigger forwards or backwards to, for you to be able to put it exactly where you want it. And these purple trigger boxes from Toxicant, compared to the black ones that they do come tuned out the box, so they've got a really nice break on them. Looks like we've got a couple of trigger options here. So I'm not sure whether they'll sell these as accessories. So again, don't quote me on that. Struggling to get them out. Get out the package. There we go. So we've got a flat Geisley trigger, style trigger. We've got a lovely curved one. That's actually really nice. I'm sort of moving away from flat triggers now. I do have like a flat Geisley style in a couple of my other guns. But that curved one, ooh, that feels nice and comfy. And then we've got another Geisley one here by the looks of it. This one looks like it's got a bit more curve on it. And yeah, so we've got another Geisley style, one being a flat and the other one being a curve. Ooh, yeah, that might be the one that I go for. Do I have a magnet? I do have a magnet somewhere. What did I do with it? So we can test if these parts are steel or not. I'll look for that in just a moment. We've got another little bag. We'll open this up here. I think I got confused by this last time. So that's the spring and detent for your selector. You have their bolt catch plate. Just get this bit of plastic off here, a bit of tape. So that's what catches the bolt. And what you'll notice here compared to the MCX trigger box is you have a slightly different style on the rear. So with the MCX trigger box, this part is actually different. Usually it's green, and then you have a green bar that sits on the front there, and it's how the MCX, how they've done it is how it triggers the full auto sear. But with this one being for the MWS, you've just got a normal full auto sear on the back there. And the trigger pull on this is phenomenal. Now, looking closely at the trigger box, it's very straightforward. You can set the hammer power by loosening this screw off here and then turning this. You can go from 100 to 150% on the hammer spring tension, and then you just secure this screw back in place to do that. Now, looking slightly closer, we've got trigger sensitivity, and you trace this line and it goes to this one down here. So the one inside the casing is for trigger sensitivity. We've got, let me just let this focus here, trigger distance. Trace it down to this one here, and that's what gives you your trigger distance. And then finally, we've got disconnector preloading. We follow that down and it refers to this one just here. Now, having a very short conversation with Toxicant over email, which was always a bit of disconnection in terms of translation, but supposedly these trigger boxes, you can set them to binary. And the way that I think that's done, because I wasn't really told how it was done, I'm just going to see if this is the correct Allen key here. So we've got a 1.5, yes we do. So I'm not entirely sure how this is achieved. The only way I can think that it's achieved is by preloading the disconnector so that the hammer actually fires. So you do that, this comes back, locks it, and then between that and it catching on the other sear, that you're able to do binary. So let's see if we can wind this in. That's a little bit too far. So I'm trying to figure this out here. So gun's cocked, ready to go. Your full auto sear has been released by the bolt. Pull the trigger, fires. Recock the hammer back. Obviously the bolt return like this. Let go of the trigger, fires. Recock the hammer back. Comes back. Fire. So I think by preloading that screw, we've actually just made a binary trigger for the MWS. Now what I'm going to do is we're going to try fitting this into something fairly quick and easy to get apart, which is the Noveski N4 from Double Eagle. Now, Double Eagle have sent me their new model, which has landed in the UK. I'm just waiting for the customs charge to get it released. So we're going to see, not only is this compatible with the Double Eagle Noveski, which I'm hoping it is. But also, we can see if that binary feature is actually something, because that would be cool to have. Now, doing it this way, what that would mean is if you set this trigger pack to binary, and I have never known another GBBR parts company doing a trigger pack that's binary. I mean, you'll have to correct me if I'm wrong, but nothing comes to mind. Let's get a screwdriver and get this screw out the back. And the other reason that I'm using this gun is because we all know how incredibly difficult comparatively it is to get the trigger box out of a Marui MWS. Right, it doesn't matter, that hasn't fell out, it will eventually. We can pop that main body pin out, and then we just need to get the selector out, so we'll just cock the system and we just push from the other side and rotate the selector out, and then we should be able to just pull this out. So this is the standard trigger pack from the Double Eagle Noveski, apart from it's got one of the early prototypes of my Z plate. So we're going to drop that out. We're going to remove the bolt release because we're going to need that, and we're going to take the Toxicant trigger pack. We're going to fit the bolt release, and you know, the secondary, or the second, third, or whatever reason I'm on now for fitting this into the Noveski, if it will go in, I'm not entirely sure. Looks like it won't quite fit over with the bolt release. It might be because Double Eagle's slightly off spec to Marui. Yeah, it's not. That's not going on there. Doesn't matter. We don't really need it for this test. What we do need, however, is the spring and detent for the selector. I'm hoping this will work nicely. So I believe we just take this, slide it back and fit it in place like that. And away we go. I don't think I'm missing anything else, so we do need the side plate. In fact, I'm not going to fit the side plate because we just want to test the binary. We want to see if the binary works. Now they did, in talking to them, they did say that the MCX trigger packs, which I already have, also have this feature. But I started recording a video and I imagined there was going to be some kind of like mode function, screw, or some kind of instruction on how to do it. I couldn't figure out how to do it, so I stopped that video and you know, in the video I was saying I'll just wait till this turns up and then we can test this. So I'm just going to loosely put this in place. Put the body pin in. We might have to loosen that back screw to get that in. Again, the Double Eagle Noveski isn't precisely TM spec. So what we'll do, we're just going to have to just go with the flow and see where it takes us. So we'll try and get the selector in. Selector's in. We'll pop that screw in the back, see if that binds up the selector. No, selector runs really nice and clicky. I do like that. And then we're going to put the mag release back in. So I'll quickly put this back in here so it holds the trigger pack down. This is made for the Marui MWS, so clones like the Double Eagle might take a little bit of fettling. But yeah, so it's very simple. We haven't got the bolt release or the Z plate in or anything like that. did have that set up. Oh, it's just very, very fine on the trigger. Let's see if we can get this to work. It might run away on full auto, but we can always adjust it if need be. Now, what did I do with that mag? Let's grab a mag. And see, I might have just adjusted that screw a little bit too far. It could also be a case of it needs the rest of the parts in to get it to function. So yeah, we need a slight bit of adjustment on that. So am I going to be able to get an Allen key in there? Probably not. The only problem when you're doing a lot of this, you want to do as much fine tuning as possible before you put it in your gun. Or if you install it into your gun, like I've just done here, don't install everything, so that when you're taking it out to adjust it and such, it's a nice, quick, easy thing to do. So let's take this back out. Is binary, does it make sense on a GBBR? I mean, I was having this discussion with people in the Discord the other day, and I was kind of saying, well, you know, I can see a use for it, because when I finally get around to editing the gameplay footage when I was using my MCXs, I tend to double tap. It's just something that's ingrained in me. So as I come around the corner and I see someone, I give them 2 shots minimum, just in case the first one hits the plate carrier, they don't feel it or whatever. So let's see if we can get this working. Right, that feels like it works. So let's pop this back in. So yeah, I tend to give people a double tap anyway, whether I'm indoors or I'm outdoors, and I can see a use for binary. Many people said that they couldn't see a use, but this is not like what they sell the trigger packs on. It's not like they go, oh, buy this binary trigger box. That's not what they're saying. They're saying buy this fancy adjustable trigger box, which, you know, I've been using mine in the Spear LT and it's been working phenomenally, apart from those screws just loosening themselves off, which could just be due to how much I've shot it. They're just saying, you know, you got this nice to adjust trigger box. You've got all this functionality. It does seem a little bit. I think it's the way I'm holding the auto sear down. Right, enough babbling. Let's see if we can get it to work. Come on, bloody gun. So, gun is cocked. Fires a shot. Rack it back. No. No. Doesn't want to release. So this could be a little bit of a pain. Do I have something that I can adjust it through the trigger guard? I don't think I do. So it's going to be one of them things. If anybody's done this, because Toxicant did send me a couple of videos and of people doing it, and I was like, that video doesn't. I did say to them, that video doesn't really describe what we're trying to achieve here. It doesn't show anything. So I'm not sure. I'm only guessing that this setting that I'm playing with is what we actually need to do. I'm wondering if we have to fine tune the other ones. So fire, 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 fire. So I'm pulling it. Fire, resets, fire, fire, resets, fire. So it should work. I'm wondering if it's something funky going on with the actual Noveski, putting it in that. Can we tune that one? What does that do? So it's working out the gun. I mean, even as much as God, I don't know. Can you anyone remember the guns modified trigger that I did? When I first got that, I bought the whole trigger pack, and I could not get that thing to work. I couldn't get it to, you know, give any sort of better feeling on the trigger. It was an absolute. You needed like a degree in physics to understand how to adjust that trigger pack. Whereas this one is fairly simple. You know, you've got it clearly labelled out. What do you want? You want a shorter trigger? You adjust this screw. Do you want a little bit more reliable lock on the disconnector? You adjust this screw. So it is a well thought out trigger pack. And you have to be careful when ordering because there are two different versions. Right. Let's try this again. Right. Cocked, fire. Cocked. I don't think so. Let's try it with a mag in. It might be something going on with the might be pulling the trigger too far. Or not far enough. I don't know. I'm going to have to play around with it. It's going to be, if I stood here doing this and getting it to a point where it actually works, this would be a super long video. What I will say, I do like the trigger boxes from Toxicant. I've got one now in the MWS, so I'm able to play around with this. I would like to try and get the binary working, even if it's just for the sake of video purposes. I should probably put it in an MWS and see if it's any different, because it does work out of the receiver. But then if I put it in the receiver, it doesn't work. But yeah, either or, the way that it works is you set it so the disconnector and the sear for the hammer basically seesaw like this. Doing it that way, you're always committed to firing 2 shots. You know, it's always, the second one's always going to be ready to go. So I'd only be using this on a bap. I would always make sure I'm off the trigger. So yeah, nicely constructed trigger box. I'll have to make sure that when this is set ready to go, I put some very low strength Loctite on all these screws to make sure they don't step out. I've got binary working out of the gun. It's just not working in the gun, so I'm not sure. It could be something on this receiver just blocking the trigger. It could be just I haven't got it set right in terms of the trigger pull. Who knows? I'll get down to it. We'll leave you there. I'll come back on another video when I've got it sussed out and we'll do some binary on it. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And from me and Bench, we'll see you in the next one.